Hello viewers, my name is Sheila Amkabes and welcome to lesson 3 in our 5-part video learning series for learners of English second language on advanced subsidiary level. In this lesson, we are talking about figurative language, where you can also learn how to apply picture words in the correct way. You will find this competency in your syllabus on page 7, bullet 3. This topic was chosen because many learners struggle to choose the proper words for different contexts and situations to achieve the required effect. We are here to help you, so it would not drive you up the wall. So, our learning outcome for this lesson relates to the use of idiomatic expressions and of proverbs. We are going to show you how you can apply figurative language to enrich your writing and speech. If you want to learn more about this topic, please stay put and don't go anywhere. At the end of this lesson, learners should be able to apply idiomatic expressions and proverbs to enrich writing and speech. Let's get out of the blocks. Let's get started. So, what is figurative language? Well, a figure is a symbol. So in any language, we humans communicate messages based on the pictures of that language. What is important is that the symbols must mean the same thing to everybody. Like when you say, let's get out of the blocks, one person sees this picture in his mind. But the next person perhaps sees this picture in his mind. The language must be the same for both speaker and receiver, for the message to be effectively understood. Two people may say exactly the same thing, but the way the idea is expressed sends out the message differently. To use the earlier example again, I can say, he runs very, very fast. Or I can say, he runs like lightning. Runs like lightning is obviously an intensely clear picture of running fast. But to understand the message, my audience must know what lightning is and how it works. Otherwise, the message has no meaning to them. Now, before we get into details about idiomatic expression and proverbs, we had better find out what these two have in common and what the difference is between the two. Both types of figurative language, idioms and proverbs, serve to intensify your message. And the register you use, both in writing and speaking, always depends on your target audience. Those are the two characteristics that idiomatic expressions and proverbs have in common. They serve to intensify a message, and they must fit or suit the target audience. But now, how do we distinguish them, one from the other? Very easy. We'll start with idiomatic expressions. An idiom is a set expression, but a phrase only, not a full sentence. Secondly, an idiomatic expression is figurative or symbolic and is always expressed in a certain way to convey the same specific meaning every time. Thirdly, because it is a symbol, it needs to be known to the user. the reader and the listener for it to make sense. And fourthly, an idiomatic expression does not lead or relate to anything else. It is not applicable in a different meaning. Let's look at more short text. Text A. I had to finally tell my dad that I crashed his brand new Rolls Royce after a drinking spree. Oh, his face showed such anger. I felt really, really bad. This message is clear, but not very imaginative, right? Now, see how this compares to the next one. Text B. I knew my dad would blow a fuse, but I finally had to break the news to him that I had crashed his car after the rave. Man, he did not have to say anything. A picture paints 1,000 words. I felt awful. Do you see how the message is conveyed differently in these two texts? Text B used more colorful language, including idioms. The idiomatic expression to blow a fuse describes anger more intensely compared to he was very angry. We want to encourage you to use more idiomatic expressions and advanced vocabulary, as it makes your speech and written work more impressive and sophisticated. We expect this kind of creative writing of you at AS level. But please, make sure that the expression you want to use is appropriate. It must be appropriate to the message you are conveying in the correct context and not just randomly. To break the news sounds more dramatic than saying to tell. And saying a picture paints 1,000 words makes the listener conjure up their own picture of just how furious the speaker's father was. That's fun. Here are more examples. To upset the applecart means to spoil a person's plans. Let me think of a suitable example. Mom deliberately upset my applecart. She knew I had planned a sleepover, but made me accompany her to the farm. To spill the beans is when you unintentionally reveal secret information. For example, I wanted to sneak a girl into the house last night, but my little sister spilled the beans to Dad. To have something up your sleeve refers to when one has secret plans to surprise someone with. For example, they thought they would beat him at his own game, but he had something up his sleeve. When somebody is said to be no spring chicken, it means he is no longer a young person. For example, the player is no spring chicken, but he is still swift on the field. And burning the candle at both ends means working excessively hard. For example, Elaine is really overworked. She's burning the candle at both ends at the moment, preparing for the exams. Well, you can just imagine how long the list of idioms is. We can just share a few examples with you and show you how they can be used in sentences. Now, let's move on to Proverbs. We know there are many proverbs in the Bible, right? They give moral instruction. Now, just like the biblical proverbs, every religion and every language have their proverbs. These are not phrases, like in the case of idioms, but full sentences. They are not hard to understand, but are straightforward in the meaning they convey. They are short and well-known sayings. And yes, Proverbs give advice and moral instruction, referring to general truths. Let's summarize the characteristics of Proverbs again. Proverbs are not phrases, but full sentences. They are not hard to understand, but straightforward with clear meaning. And Proverbs give advice and moral instruction, referring to general life truths. They are short and well-known sayings. Let's look at a few examples. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. This means something that requires a lot of effort begins with one step or action. So, if you hope to finish something, better begin doing it now. Just like grade 12 is a journey of 1,000 miles. So, you had better begin with a single step of going to class. Make hay while the sun shines. This means make use of the best opportunities while they are available. You could use it in a sentence like, you never know when another pandemic might hit. So let's make hay while the sun shines and go on a tour around Namibia. Beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder. This means what appears as beautiful to one person might not appear as such to another. For example, my friend and I went to see a beautiful flat to rent, but he turned it down. I guess beauty lies in the eye of the beholder. I'm sure you know this one. Do not put all your eggs in one basket. Meaning, do not concentrate all your efforts on one thing, as you could lose everything at once. For example, I cannot give you everything. I must at least keep some, just in case. I cannot risk putting all my eggs in one basket. And finally, better late than never. This means it is better to rather get there late or do something late than not at all. For example, I am 10 minutes late for the meeting, but I will still go. Better late than never. And there you have it, viewers. I gave you some examples of idioms and proverbs and showed you how you can use them in context. Your textbook and the internet has many more for you to learn from. So, thanks for watching our lesson today. I hope you've enjoyed it and that it has made you feel more confident about using idioms and proverbs in your speech and writing. We have seen what the difference is between idioms and proverbs and how each of them can be used in context to improve our speech and writing. But before we say goodbye, let's have a summary of what we have seen today. We have learned in today's lesson that idioms have specific meanings and are expressed in a fixed way. Our phrases, they only make sense to the listener who already knows them, and they do not lead or relate to anything else. Proverbs, on the other hand, are short and well-known sayings, but in full sentences. Straightforward and easily understandable, and provide moral advice on general truths. Well, viewers, that wraps up our lesson for today. Do join us again soon for program 4, which will be about speech writing. See you then. Bye.